Rataski, good evening, man. How you doing?
Doing well. How you doing, Mike?
Man, I'm doing good. Thank you for taking time to sit down with me, man. I know we've been trying to get a hold. I've been trying to sit down with you for a while,
Yes,
but
sir.
needless to say, we're here. We're here this evening. You got some good things going on over at the store. I
Yes.
like to start out for those who don't know you, and know your background and how much you're involved with our communities. Can you start off and just tell us a little bit about yourself, man?
Yes. Well, my name is Rataski Aku Abba. I was born right here in Columbia, South Carolina. Graduated from Keenan High School in 1982. Moved away, stayed away for about 17 years. When I came back home, I saw the need of being in our community because of our youth. And so, myself, along with about 20 other men, we actually started an organization called the Columbia, South Carolina Chapter of Concerned Black Men, and where we worked with our youth for about, I'm going to say, for about 20, 22 years. We were working in the community with youth and developing positive male images, African American male images for our youth in our community, and to do the work that needs to be done to change the culture, to change environments, to change mentalities of our people, and working with each other, and to build a culture in our community that is reflective of our cultural worldview. And so, in doing that, from I would say from year 2000 all the way up until 2020, we did some good work with the organization. And since that time, my wife and I, we actually opened a store in 2017, I want to say, um, it's called the Hathor, the House of Hathor. And with the House of Hathor, we wanted to make sure that we extended that cultural community through our store in developing different aspects of our ancestral, our mental, our spiritual, emotional, and our physical linkage to our culture. And so through our store, we want to make sure that we always aligned ourselves not only with those particular aspects of ourselves, but we also align ourselves with the principles of Kwanzaa, because those particular and specific principles, those are daily aspects of what we manifest on a daily basis through unity, collective self-determination, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, faith, and collective responsibility. So we want to make sure that we use all seven of those principles in everything that we do as a retail store. Just recently, I'm gonna say maybe this past year, we actually started our own nonprofit organization that's called the Hathor Cultural Arts Center, which its design is for us to build the culture of our communities, using that same collective cultural worldview back into the community so that we can reach more people through the nonprofit, as well as teaching them about cultural understandings and a holistic worldview with our culture in mind. And so it is with the Hathor Cultural Arts Center that we started doing the work that needed to be done in the community, and politically, educationally, spiritually, economically, and what we call the 9 areas of people activity that Brother Nellie Fuller speaks about in his book, the United Compensatory Code System of Racism. So we use those particular those 9 areas to reach as many as we can, so that we can start making a change not only for the adults but for the children as well.
Right. Tell us a little bit about your store. Now, I go in the store, and I know you're much more than a retail store. So, tell us a little bit about the store.
Well, the store is designed. We have a social area where people we normally have like poetry. We have poetry once a month here. We have an area where you can just come if you want to just come and relax and listen to the music and just meditate. So we use this area to have a connectedness to our community and to our customers that come in, so that we could it's a cooperative. where we have the culture here, we have the spirit here, we have the ancestors
Mhm.
here. We have products here that what we call tools to help you manifest a better way of life that extends itself and lends itself to our ancestors as well. Because we have a saying here that our ancestors are a part of who we are, and we are a part of who our ancestors are. So,
Right,
if you really want to connect to your ancestors, there is a process that you can go through in order for you to connect to your ancestors. And so we want to help you with that process, because we all should be connecting to our ancestors, because we connect to everybody else's ancestors but our own. Every time that we use money that has a picture of someone else's ancestors on it, that is a connection that we're making to someone else's ancestors that is not of our own. Every time we turn on a street that has somebody else's ancestors' name on it, or the name of a building, whatever it is that we're utilizing, we're paying value and homage to someone else's ancestors, but we're not paying it to our own immediate ancestors, like your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, whoever that's a part of your life. We want to make sure that we have a greater standing on our own ancestors. And so our store is geared towards teaching people about recognizing their own true ancestry, and standing on those principles and those values that we were taught growing up based on our own ancestry.
right. Now, you spent some time in Richland One in the school district.
Yes.
Um, and so you know that had to have a impact on you. Can you give me any enlighten me on what the experience in the school system in term what you saw in terms of how the school system today relates to young black males or just young black kids in general?
Yeah. Well, my time in Richland One, I actually had a wonderful time.
Mhm.
I did not agree with the system itself, because the system is not our system. The school system itself, no matter where you live, it is a part of a larger system, and that system is only designed, I see, as being a to keep us permanent underclass. And so while I was there, I was hired to be a behavior interventionist. And so I dealt with behaviors all 16, 17 years that I was involved with it. Well, I had to change my way of thinking in dealing with behaviors, because I knew that if I did not create a holistic environment for our children to want to change their way of thinking, that I would be a part of that issue as well. And so
Right,
we brought so I brought a culture, an African centered culture, into the schools that I worked in, to work with the kids from where they were, and to help them to establish a better frame of reference of who they want to be, where they want to be, and to recognize their true potential, as African centered people. And so, I worked in the elementary school for a couple of years to help our young boys and girls to have a sense of value, a sense of culture, a sense of family. By having just conversations with them, by giving them a hug on a daily basis, so they can have a connection. Sometimes that's all. Sometimes that's what the kids need. They just need somebody that they know that cares about them, that's going to be there for the long haul. So, working in the elementary school, I moved from the elementary school to the alternative school, where I want to say we did one of our best work as a staff there. We had a lot of kids that were special needs kids. We had a lot of kids that were already written off, and we had programs in place to help them make a different decision for themselves, as well as to recognize the true strengths that they have with themselves. So,
mhm,
we had a program that was there that was designed to help middle school kids that was 2 years behind. And in their 2 years behind, when they came to us for a year, they would actually be in their right grade just by staying with us for a year. Now, with
mhm,
those particular kids, when they left our program and they went to their high school, their prospective high schools, they actually graduated on time. And so they were able to catch up with the rest of their peers, to catch up to graduate on time, And and our mentoring organization that I mentioned earlier, we took part in that in mentoring the kids, and we brought a program that was called Brothers Can We Talk, where we sat down with them in group settings to have those those nice hard topics to talk to them about making different changes about themselves. And so that particular program for this particular school, well, we were able to change the perceptions, we were able to change the mindsets, at least give them a foundation of wanting something and doing something different. The next high school, I worked at a traditional high school after that, where we actually did the same thing with the kids there. And that, we were able to change the perception of a lot of our kids while we were there. They didn't have the same program that we had in the alternative school. But this particular high school, they were graduating at a low rate when we got there. We're talking about less than 100 people were graduating. Well,
Wow.
after 3 or 4 years, we were starting to graduate 140, 150 kids. Okay. And so
That's
we were
awesome.
able to, so we were able to take our frame of reference, and our values, our interests and our principles to any school, and to change the minds not only of the children but of the parents and of the community, so they can see the value that that the kids actually had within themselves to want to see themselves do something different other than what was presented to them earlier. And
Mhm.
so,
Now,
again,
so
that
yeah.
go ahead.
Do you look at the work that you do now in the store? Is that just an extension of the work you was already doing?
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, the store is the true value of what I was doing in the
Right.
school. See, there were certain things I weren't able to do in the public school system because the system again was not designed for
Right.
me to do the true work that I really wanted to do, and that because I wanted to do things from a cultural frame of reference. Well, the school systems are not designed for us to be that cultural frame of reference for our kids. We don't have that type of time. Everything was about test scores. Everything was about getting the kids and moving them from one grade to the next. And so it wasn't about the culture, it was really more so about the system itself and graduation. So we weren't able to do the real work of getting our kids to see themselves pass high school. It was just about getting them out of high school. And so here at the House of Hathor is more so about a cultural frame of reference to where they can actually see themselves culturally in existence in this world that we live in, and see themselves in the long run where they truly want to be, and who they really want to be, and the purpose of making life better for themselves, their families, and their community.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And I thank you for the. I'm very familiar with the work you do in the community, and I definitely thank you. We need more brothers in the community doing what you're doing, and your store happens to be a center block in the community for a beacon where a lot of brothers come out to the store who's doing great things, and so I just appreciate that, and I'm glad. I'm glad an institution like the House of Hathor is in the community, especially in the community that is located, which is a historically black neighborhood, which I grew up in.
Yes.
So that's awesome, man, and I really appreciate that. With that being said, you have a awesome event coming up this Sunday, I believe. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Well, we have Dr. Umar Johnson that's coming here Sunday to do a book signing of his book that's called The Black Parent Advocate. Dr. Umar Johnson has been a strong advocate for parents. He's a clinical psychologist, an educational psychologist. So he understands everything that I'm about. When I was working in the public school system in our community, that is what he's about. And so it was a blessing for him to be able to come here to do that book signing and to answer questions that anybody may have about community, about family, about education, about culture. So he's willing to answer those questions. He's always been willing to answer those hard questions, and don't mind people just bringing him some questions that they may have that someone else has not been able to answer. And so we appreciate him coming on this Sunday to be here. My wife and I, we truly want to make sure that our store is one that is uplifting, encouraging, inviting, We want to make sure that we show the investment that we have in our community, and we want to encourage people and influence people to see something different in themselves. And when we bring people in, and Dr. Umar Johnson, he's not the first person that we brought here, but he's the, I'm gonna say he's the most, he's the most public figure that we have brought here to our store, that we want to continue to bring brothers and sisters here like Dr. Umar Johnson for our community, so that we can bring a variety of mindsets, a variety of cultural experiences, that's uplifting and encouraging to the community. So we're pleased to bring them, and we're looking forward to it this Sunday. We're going to do, actually, we're going to based on his schedule. We still need to talk with him to make sure that we are meeting his needs as well, but we want to break this session up into two different sessions,
Okay.
so that we can get as many people in as we can, to give him a little break in between, because he's coming from doing a lot of other work, in some other places that he's going to come from. So from 2 o'clock to 4:30, that's going to be our first session. The second session will start at 5:30, go to 8 o'clock, and that's going to be inclusive of the book signing as well as answering any questions. So it's not necessarily a talk that he's going to give, or he's not doing a
Mhm.
presentation. He's actually doing the book signing, and he's going to answer some of the questions that people may have for him
Wow.
about community, about family, whatever it is that they want to ask. So that time is going to be used for that.
Okay. How do people sign up for a session, or how would people reach out to attend? What's that process?
Well, we did do one session on Eventbrite. So
Okay.
if they go on Eventbrite for it says an evening with Dr. Umar Johnson, book presentation for the Black Parent Advocate, something like that. Just put his name in, and it should come up, and it'll have the House of Hathor on there. Just
Okay.
sign up for it, because the first one is going to be about, we're accepting about 60 people in. The second
Okay.
one, we're going to accept another 60 people in on the second one as well. So we're hoping that if you sign up for the first one, then we can get you in. The second one, we'll receive the people in as they come in. And then again, it depending on how the day is going, if things are going a little bit smoother, we might be able to, if people come in to stay here for a while, get the book, buy a book, get it signed, then they can leave. We're asking everybody to give a donation at the door, because it is a free event, but we're asking you to
Okay.
give a donation at the door so that we can do right by Dr. Umar Johnson as well. So those are the things, that's how we're trying to keep it more holistically involved, to get people, it'll be more natural than anything. And so we'll
Okay.
it'll be a wonderful event for the people of the community to take part in.
It sounds awesome. Now, um, Dr. Umar, of course, is a firebrand, to say the least, a controversial figure. Um, so I'm sure people got thousands of questions. What would be one of your questions that you would ask Dr. Umar?
One of my
Have you
questions,
have you given that some thought?
yeah, one of my questions I really want to I would like to ask him is, you know, how do we how do we connect from here and the diaspora back to Africa? How do we connect? What is the connection that we can bring together holistically that will connect us to the continent of Africa, or or countries over in Africa? How do we make that connection so that we can so that we can be with our brothers and sisters not only in Africa but in the diaspora as well, whether it be in Brazil, whether it be in Jamaica, any of the Caribbean Isles. We want to make sure that there's a connection between us and our brothers and sisters. How do we connect? Do we do it agriculturally, educationally, technology wise? There has to be a connection to where we can do the same things in the diaspora as we do in our, into the places where we live. So if there's farming over in Africa and we have farming here, then we should be able to share with each other. We should be able to share that experience with each other. And when the brothers and sisters come over here to the United States, they can connect to a farming institute here, or Black farmers here, And then our farmers can go over to Africa to share the experience over there as well, so that we can start building and collaborating and cooperating with one another.
Okay. Yeah. And that's one of the principles of Kwanzaa, if I'm
That is
correct,
correct.
right?
Yeah, it's actually the Nguza Saba is what the seven principles are. So they're not divided up. We Even though we may teach them as separate principles, but it's really the holistic part of Kwanzaa, the Nguza Saba, where you should be able to find unity, self determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. We should be able to see all of those principles in one at all times. We should be able to find it. And so when we start working together and building together synergistically, then we should be able to find every principle that we're talking about in each one. So as you're doing self-determination, it builds unity. We have faith in one another that we will build with one another, and we will unify our efforts with one another. And because we're unifying, then we should be able to cooperate with one another as well economically. We're going to use our talents, that means our creativity, to have a sense of purpose in all that we do. And that is what we want to invest into our interests. The interests that we share with one another is to make sure that we're being encouraging, that we're inspiring, that we're influencing and enlightening. We're investing into the future of our people, which is actually our children. We're investing into the children, but we have to be the examples so that our children will have something to reflect on and then project it out to the rest of the world.
Okay. Well said, man. Before I let you go, I just wanted to question I have for you, but I'm sure other people have asked me this question. Um, why is the store named Hathor, and who was Hathor as it relates to our culture?
Well, Hathor, from Kemetan mythology, Hathor was the embodiment of a peaceful home. Hathor was beauty. Hathor was
Okay.
family. Hathor was protection and guidance. And so we wanted our store to reflect that same principle, of Hathor.
Okay.
And anytime you think about a home, home is where you are able to be who you are. Home is about culture. Home is about discipline. Home is about values. Home is about love and peace. So the house of Hathor, it reflects that which we want people to have when they come inside of our store.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a person. Well, yeah, I'm glad. That's
It is
why
no,
I asked.
it is a person.
Okay.
Hathor is a person, but she
Okay.
reflects that. See that it speaks about the woman again. See
Oh,
it is the spirit of our mothers and our grandparents and our grandmothers and all of the women. They are every all of them are Hathor. And so
okay.
culture and life comes through the woman. And so we want to make sure that our store represents that which represents family, which represents culture, which represents values. And so Hathor is that embodiment of that.
Okay. Thank you for educating me on that. Um, Jimmy, before I let you go, tell us where you located and how
Yes,
to contact you if a person wanted to find out more information about this
yeah,
Sunday's event.
yes, we're located at 6820 North Main Street, Suite B, here in Columbia, South Carolina. Our telephone number is 803-741-8090, or you can email us at the House of Hathor, Hathor, at gmail.com. And my
Rataski,
wife and
man.
I, my wife and I will be
Okay.
more than happy to answer any questions that you may have for us.
Oh, operating normal operating hours.
No,
What are the
Monday,
normal hours?
yeah, Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m.
Okay. All right, Rataski, man. Thank you for taking time, and I definitely will see you this Sunday.
Appreciate you, Mike. Look forward to it. You take care.
All right, man.
All right, Hotep.